Kia ora, brothers, it's the director. A bit of a different video today. As a lot of you know, Philip Rivers and the Chargers have officially parted ways as of this morning. A lot of us Chargers fans very conflicted about this, very emotional about this. We've been watching the guy for, a decade plus, and it leaves a lot of anxiety in the hearts of a lot of Chargers fans. Who is going to be our quarterback in the upcoming season? In this video, I've compiled 5 scenarios of who the starting quarterback is going to be for the LA Chargers in 2020. Now, a lot of you are probably not going to agree with what I have to say, maybe even a lot of Chargers fans, but really, it's just some scenarios, kind of just my opinion. I would highly encourage you guys to go to the comments section and speak your mind. If you have a different view or if you do agree with what I'm saying, let's have a discussion in the comments section. Let's keep it civil. Let's get this started. With the 6th pick, the LA Chargers select Justin Herbert. Now, this is the one you guys are probably going to hear a lot over the offseason, especially leading up to the NFL draft. Unless something happens in the offseason via trades and free agency, we're probably going to have our eye on Justin Herbert for a while. So Justin Herbert, I've been seeing a lot of pessimism towards him in the last couple of weeks. He showed out really great at the Senior Bowl, but guys are a little bit concerned in his leadership and just the fire that he brings to football, and that's understandable. But you really don't have to look at Justin Herbert in just one light. The guy is a really complex quarterback when you break him down. He has a lot of potential. His measurables are really, really nice, and he can definitely turn into a franchise quarterback if the organization commits to building around him. What Justin Herbert would bring to the Chargers is really elite arm strength, definitely much more mobility than Philip Rivers had in the past, and really a high ceiling if the team commits to building around him. So this pessimism I'm seeing around Justin Herbert, I understand it, but I also disagree with it. I think if we commit to Justin Herbert, he can definitely be a fantastic option, but this would come with maybe a bit of an interim quarterback situation with Tyrod Taylor. Maybe towards the beginning or the middle of the 2020 season is when we'll see the torch passed to Justin Herbert. Could definitely be worse, guys. We are fortunate to be in this spot in the draft during a period in which the Chargers do not know who their next quarterback is going to be. So Justin Herbert, probably the most likely option. That's going to be our first scenario. Scenario number 2, with the 6th pick, the LA Chargers select Tua Tagovailoa, quarterback, Alabama. Now, more than likely, the Chargers are going to need to trade up to acquire Tua Tagovailoa, and there is some concern about this player when it comes to his availability. And I see a lot of people really pushing back and fighting back against the pick for Tua at 3 if we have to trade up, or even at 6 if he falls to us. Those concerns are definitely valid, but at the same time, a little bit one-sided. You see, before his injury, Tua was projected to be the number 1 overall pick in this year's draft, and it really seemed like the Miami Dolphins were doing everything in their power to tank in order to get Tua Tagovailoa. We cannot forget the talent that this kid possesses simply because he did suffer an injury that, yes, was scary back in the olden days of NFL football. A lot has happened in medical science since the injury of Bo Jackson, fellas. And I understand it's still scary. He has other concerns when it comes to his availability. But Tua Tagovailoa, his talent cannot be questioned. Reminds me of kind of a mix between Drew Brees and Russell Wilson. He showed it out there on the field. Absolutely dominant with Alabama. Really year in and year out. And we've seen quarterbacks come back from devastating injuries in the past. Deshaun Watson in recent memory had a lot of injury concerns coming into the draft. And I think Tua is definitely a better prospect than him. So is he worth the risk? Is he worth risking, what it would take to trade up to number 3 to acquire him? In my opinion, absolutely. You're only going to be set up with the scenario once, Chargers. You have a high capital draft pick. You're set up perfectly to go pick up a quarterback. If you feel that Tua Tagovailoa is the guy, go and get him. Is it likely that if the Miami Dolphins are set on picking Tua Tagovailoa as well, that we will get him? Probably not. They have much more draft capital than we do, especially in the first round. But I say you got to at least give it a shot, Chargers. If there is room to fight for him, even in a bidding war with Miami Dolphins, do everything in your power to pick up this guy. Also in this scenario, Tyrod Taylor would be our starting quarterback in 2020, and I wouldn't expect him to hand the torch off to Tua Tagovailoa until maybe late season, maybe even next season. Tyrod Taylor is only on the roster, at least under contract, for one more season. He will become a free agent in 2021. So it's definitely possible for Tyrod Taylor to be the full-time starting quarterback of the LA Chargers until Tua's had enough time to heal and fully grasp the concept of an NFL offense. Let's move on to scenario number 3. The Chargers, and I don't know what pick this is going to be, but the Chargers, with their pick in the first round, select Jordan Love. Lots of guys have their doubts about Jordan Love. Totally understandable, dudes. I completely understand it. He played for kind of a garbage team, Utah State. Didn't have a lot of talent around him and definitely made his share of mistakes, especially when it comes to turnovers. But you really have to look at this kid's measurables, guys. I'm not a professional analyst for the NFL. I don't know what to look for when watching tape, but I did watch some tape on Jordan Love. And from what my eyes tell me, he's going to be something special in the NFL. Whether or not it works out for him or the team that drafts him is still up in the air. You would really have to commit to developing Jordan Love. Do the Chargers have the time and resources to truly commit to developing Jordan Love if they take him at some point in this draft? I think so, yeah. I think they could definitely do that if they really felt they wanted to. Again, Tyrod Taylor becoming this full starter of this year, I think minimum, in order to get, Jordan Love up to par. But I would be willing to roll the dice with this kid. I really would. It would also give us the opportunity to possibly trade back in the draft. I know it's a little bit sketchy. If you really believe in Jordan Love, grab him at number 6. But if the Chargers see an opportunity to gain more capital and still pick up, let's say, Jordan Love at number 7, 8, or 9, maybe even in the teens if they feel very confident about it, then, go ahead and trade back a little bit. Maybe gain another 2nd or 3rd round pick. That's just fine by me. Go get your guy. Me personally, when it comes to quarterback, if you love Jordan Love and he's sitting there at 6, take him where he stands and develop him and commit to him. Scenario number 4. This one's a bit tricky, dudes. This involves the Chargers taking best player available in round number 1. Players that I would be ecstatic to join the Chargers, a Jedrick Wills, an Isaiah Simmons, a Jeff Okudah, all would be massive upgrades to this team. But really, when you look at the glaring hole at quarterback, the importance of that position trumps everything else, in my opinion. So if you take best player available, it means that you've already addressed this position before the draft. And in my mind, there's a couple of ways to go about that. I think Teddy Bridgewater is a fantastic add for any team that decides to add him. A little bit sketchy. We've seen some success in the past, but I definitely wouldn't be upset if we ended up picking up Teddy Bridgewater. There's other guys like Marcus Mariota, maybe even a Tom Brady that, the Chargers have been linked to here and there. Not as optimistic about those options. Obviously, Tom Brady is the GOAT, but at the same time, he's very much in his twilight years. I don't see him operating very well with the Chargers. One big trade prospect, I will say, in the offseason, probably going to be Cam Newton. What would it take for the Chargers to get Cam Newton from the Carolina Panthers? Well, first, you're going to have to look at it from the Panthers' perspective. If they've already committed to maybe another quarterback or the idea of another quarterback, they've only got one more season to get any kind of return draft capital-wise for Cam Newton. What do teams in the NFL think of Cam Newton? Is he a wash? Is he too injury prone? Are his best days behind him? These are the questions that the Chargers will have to do their homework on in order to anticipate if Cam Newton is worth anything at all in order to acquire him during the offseason. Now, like I said, the pros and cons. The cons with Cam Newton is it definitely does feel like his best days are behind him. The last couple times I watched him play, it really seemed like he's digressed quite a bit. But that could really just be solely due to the fact that he was injured. And he's been injured for almost 2 seasons in a row now. That's bad. But also from an optimistic point of view, it could be good. Let's say this time that Cam Newton, all this time, 2 seasons that he's been out, has finally given him the opportunity to fully heal. For the first time in 3 seasons, Cam Newton will step onto the football field 100% healthy. Is this a possibility? Absolutely. The other big scenario you have to think about with Cam Newton coming to the Chargers is a change of scenery. Absolutely a huge upgrade for Cam Newton, getting Mike Williams, Keenan Allen, Hunter Henry, Austin Eckler, who's very comparable to his weapon in Christian McCaffrey in Carolina. But is this an upgrade for the Chargers over even a Tyrod Taylor? That is still a question left to be answered. I think when it comes to the quarterback position, you look at a guy like Cam Newton, he has held the reign of NFL MVP in the past. I think he has the potential to bounce back with the Chargers. I think just the ceiling there of Cam Newton in an LA uniform operating under that offense is, in my mind, a risk worth taking. And if it doesn't work out, let's say you went ahead and traded like your 2020 fourth and your 2021 third. That is a lot to give up for a quarterback, but it's also a lot less than you would have to give up if you were to draft a guy right away. Cam Newton would give you a little bit of time to figure out what your plan is at quarterback. Maybe you are going to target somebody like, Lawrence in future drafts, or Fields in future drafts, or who knows who's going to be available, past 2021. But it really is just kind of a roll of the dice, dudes. And one optimistic way to look at maybe even Philip Rivers departing the Chargers is there was a pretty decent dent in our cap every time we decided to re-sign Philip Rivers, which he deserved, one of the top tier quarterbacks in the NFL. But since his decline, and since being let go from the Chargers, that is going to open up quite a bit of cap space for the Chargers to operate for different areas on the team. Probably the biggest one everyone's thinking is offensive line. You could definitely go after, like a Jack Conklin or a Brian Bulaga in the offseason and really reinforce this offensive line to give whoever the best opportunity to succeed in that offense. So really, with all these scenarios, fix the offensive line, whether it be through draft, whether it be through the free agency, or maybe a combination of both. But that has to be one of the main focuses of your offseason, along with quarterback. So what do you guys think? Let me know in the comment section below. I know a lot of you are probably asking, Director, what do you want to happen? Out of these scenarios that you listed, what would you want to happen with the LA Chargers for 2020? Honestly, my opinion, dudes, and maybe it's me being biased or whatever, but I love the scenario of us taking Tua Tagovailoa. I really do. You take a look at the guy who's projected to be the #1 overall pick in the NFL draft for this season. You have an opportunity to get him maybe at 3 or 6. Take it. He comes with risk. Every quarterback comes with risk. Don't overlook talent because of potential injury. He's on the right path of recovery. Even today, the day that Philip Rivers moved on from LA, there have been reports that the hip fracture has fully healed. We are moving in the right direction to start in the NFL 2020 season. So in my opinion, that is absolutely worth the risk. A young gun, very well known around the entire country, would bring a lot of focus to the LA Chargers going into their new stadium. I'm a big fan of trying to get Tua Tagovailoa. And again, everything is a dice roll. Everything is a risk. But when it comes to your ceiling with that risk, I like Tua the most. Would I be upset with any of these other decisions? Probably not. The only one I wouldn't do is not address the quarterback position at all this year. Roll out with Tyrod Taylor. Again, I like Tyrod Taylor, but I don't think he's the answer moving forward past the 2020 season. Again, let me know what your guys' opinions are in the comments section below. If you guys enjoyed this, hit us up with a like and sub. Maybe I'll do more of these videos if you guys really do respond to this. If you guys really did like this just kind of generic NFL talk, maybe even more specifically the Chargers, hit us with a like and sub for real, guys, and tell me in the comment section below. Yes, more videos like this. I stick to Madden football videos. Totally fine with whatever, guys. I enjoyed putting this video out. Wanted to talk a little bit about the future with the Chargers, seeing as our future is a little bit uncertain right now, and hopefully we have a nice discussion in the comment section. Guys, this has been the Director. Thank you so much for joining me, and as always, stay frosty.
Last chance, 4th and long, finding the will to bolt up. Bundle up, cause we stay frosty. I take my frosty, chocolate, vanilla, or swirl. Mutt master, YouTuber, come on, let's give it a whirl. Mutt, Madden, Twitch streamer, put the snowman to shame. Staying frosty's the only way we stay alive in this game. They're reffing the match, directors directing the game. Scared of my underdog team, you know them gods will be slain. Stay frosty.